Hey there, it's Trisha, and today we're going to talk about the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and the lesson that I learned from my 2025 first year filing. So, hopefully, you can join me for this and learn something from it. I've had some interesting discoveries that I've had to kind of change my approach for next year, considering everything that's happening. Okay, so one of the first things that I found out is how important the modified adjusted gross income number is. I didn't even know about this until just recently. So in 2025, I had to tell the ACA, or from me specifically, covered California, what my wages would be for 2025. And of course, you don't know, so you're just taking a guess based on all of the information that you have. And so I gave them a number, and that number, then they told me how much credit I could get towards the various plans. So I picked a plan, and my plan was the cheapest plan available. And I think it was a bronze HDHP plan with an HSA. And it was 200, well, it's $243 a month for two. And the reason why it's so low is because I reported that my income would be, I think, 75,000. So that was the cheapest plan, and my theory was that I would rather pay a low premium and know that if something happened, I was going to have to come up with up to $6,200 per person. That was the maximum out of pocket for me, and I was willing to take that that gamble, right? Hoping that I nothing, no real big medical expenses were going to come through. And so far, it's been great. However, we may have something coming up, but still, in the end, worth it versus the alternative of having to actually pay out of pocket for the premium monthly, 1,200. Some of them 1,400. I would rather just put that money away, and if I need to pay for something, then I pay for it. So that's a choice that I made. Well, my calculation was wrong. So I was thinking that the number that you gave them was after you applied the standard deduction. So meaning I could have 30,000 more of income and still meet that $75,000 number that I gave them. Well, that's not the way it works. So it's all of your various incomes that are included in your modified adjusted gross income. So, for example, it's not only your W 2 wages, but it's also any kind of Roth conversions that you do, any type of capital gains, any type of dividends, anything that you sell, or you take a withdrawal from your IRA. All of that goes into your wages number. And so, what that causes is you're not going to meet that number that you told them you were going to meet. And because of that, you'll have to repay some of those credits that you were given. And there's a different levels of it, but I can only speak from my specific example. And so this year I had to do some, digging to find out what are my options in terms of now trying to lower this modified adjusted gross income, because I told them it was going to be a number. Luckily, there are a few things that you can do to reduce your modified adjusted gross income, your MAGI. And I'm grateful that I'm in a position where I can take advantage of these things. And so one of the things is you can contribute to yours and your spouse's IRA, and up to the maximum. And since we're both over 50, I think our maximum is 8,000 each. I think there's a stipulation that you have to have earned income. So my husband is still working, so thankfully we have that. So we can contribute to our IRAs, and that will reduce our modified adjusted gross income. Another thing that we can do is we can contribute to an HSA. Since we are in a plan that has an HSA, we can put up to the maximum, I think, of 10,500 for married over 50, I believe. So that's another thing that you can do to reduce your modified adjusted gross income. So at least there's a couple of options that I have that can get me closer to that 75,000 that I had said was going to be my 2025 income. But without those, I would probably have to repay the entire subsidy. So that's a huge learning point for 2025, and I'm glad it happened now because I have plenty of time to adjust. And another thing is that for 2026, if I get the exact same plan, but since the subsidies are not going to be extended, I still fall under the 400% wages, or the federal poverty level. I think that's what it is. So I'm going to be reporting only 65,000 with a plan to take money from brokerage or Roth if needed. And that way, that'll allow me to keep qualifying for some of the subsidies, although not all of it. And so what I'm looking at right now is that my premium will go from 243 to 287. And additionally, my out of pocket for 2025 limit per person was, I think, 6,200, and now it's 7,500. So both things have gone up. I'm still fortunate that I have control over, some of it, and I am willing to go on a lower plan. And thank God, I don't have any, medical issues right now, but it's kind of the situation. Just wanted to share lessons learned from 2025, as well as what my strategy is for 2026. One thing that makes this kind of, a little bit, I don't know, different is that, although you're trying to stay below a certain adjusted gross income for qualifying for some credits, the nice thing about it is that I still will get a tax return. So I'm hoping that the two kind of net each other out, and that's kind of at least a saving grace of it all, right? That hopefully, outside of having to move some money around, I am not giving any more in additional taxes. So just wanted to share that with you all. Hopefully, you're in a position where, you've predicted what your income was going to be correctly, and your ACA payment is, right on, spot on. But I know for others that may not be in this position, those are a few things that I'm looking at to try to shore up that number and hopefully get it to a point where, it's not anything significant. So, all right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. And once again, subscribe to the channel. And if you have any comments or questions, anything in addition to what I've discussed, please feel free. Give me a comment below and let me know what you're planning on doing. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.